Hey guys, my name's Alpha and welcome to the Silver Gold Saver channel. In today's metals and market segment, I want to talk about liquidity, why it's important, and my experience in buying and selling gold and silver in the past 3 months. So liquidity is defined as how quickly you can buy or sell or trade your silver and gold for currency. It's important to know that you don't always have to trade your silver and gold for currency. You can also trade it for other pieces of gold and silver. It really depends on who you make that exchange with. And so in my experience, in the past 3 months, I visited frequently a couple local coin shops near me, and have gotten to know what is liquid to them and what they want to buy and what they are willing to pay for. So as many of you know, the most liquid in the United States is the American Silver Eagle. This coin is readily bought and sold by local coin shops everywhere in the United States, and you would typically get at least spot price. So when I sold mine, I got spot price for it. The good thing is the LCS didn't really care for, or didn't really mind if it was slightly toned, if it had milk spots or anything, as long as it wasn't in cull condition, meaning there's no holes on it, it wasn't damaged in any way, they would pay you spot for it. The next most liquid is a Canadian maple leaf. I think this was close to spot, but not quite. The reason why it is also most liquid, it's very recognizable. The design is, iconic, and there's a good demand for the maple leaf in the United States, being a border of Canada. Obviously the next ones would be your bar. So I've sold a few of my generic 10-ounce bars, and what was interesting to me was that for this I would get a dollar back, so meaning whatever spot price was, let's say it was 26, you'd get $25 per ounce. And what was interesting is that it's the same as any generic round, right? So regardless of if there was milk spots in the round, the LCS didn't really look at it or inspect the rounds very closely. They would just say, it is silver, I will give you, and it's a generic round, it's in fine shape, I'll give you $1 behind spot for it. And what was, again, interesting to me is that for other coins, regardless of if it was, higher premium when you bought it, you would also get the same. So this is a coin by the Republic of Chad. As long as it's a coin, you would get the same price as a round, and so you wouldn't recapture any of the higher premiums that you paid for in that coin. Similar to bars, they actually are a little bit more strict on poured bars. They want the weight to be visible and the purity. So they obviously have a tester machine, but it's harder for them to sell these bars if there's no weight and purity listed on the bar. And so if you're looking for something really cool like this this little guy, I got this off of an artist, right? There's technically like the 999 fine silver right there, but this would be a harder sell. But because I've built a relationship with the local coin shop, he said he will give me the same thing, $1 behind spot for it. And if he can't sell it, he'll probably just send it to a melter. So same thing with these, Philharmonics. Even though it's a coin, you would get the same price as a round from my LCS. And that gets back to, paying high premium coins, paying for high premium coins. It's just this. I think I paid probably $60 an ounce for it. It's obviously a nice collector piece, limited mintage and everything. But you're not going to get, $60 an ounce for this in the LCS. You'd be lucky to get spot for it, just because for them, they really just care about the spot price and the metal and how quickly they can turn these silver coins around. So my experience with gold is that, for the American Eagle, they would give me, one of them would give me 98% of spot, and one of them would give me spot for it. And then for the for non-American coins, like the Philharmonic, this would get 95% of spot. So what I've learned is that you should probably not sell non-American coins to an LCS, because 5% of, for easy math, call it 2,000. It's a lot of money. So I wouldn't do it. It's $100 that you would otherwise not get, and I think you could easily get, spot price for it if you sell it to one of the members of the community. And same thing, if you're buying something high premium, you're not going to get the premiums back, because it's not kind of a liquid coin from the coin shop's perspective. And so that's why, going back to the topic of liquidity, if you want, and if you think that you would want to buy and sell at a moment's notice, I would encourage you to just take a look at the American Silver Eagles, because these are liquid. Any coin shop will want to buy them, and the market for them is much wider, right? Versus a generic round. Well, maybe a generic round, it's still a pretty big market, but maybe a poured bar isn't as liquid, and maybe a collector coin, definitely definitely not as liquid. Not everyone is a fan of Darth Vader or Star Wars, right? So that's the topic for the day. Just wanted to talk about my experience in buying and selling gold and silver. One thing that's interesting is that a lot of these are collector pieces, and just to play devil's advocate, right? For example, for this coin, I paid $60 an ounce for. It might kind of force you to hold off on selling that piece until silver is high, right? Because you don't want to sell it for $25. So the idea is that if some people that have, call it, weak hands like myself, that every time the price goes down or price goes up, you want to buy or sell. Knowing that you have premium pieces that are less liquid might force you to have a little bit more discipline. Some people freeze their credit cards, right? Have you heard of that? I've heard of stories where to force people to think about a purchase, they would literally put their credit card in an ice block, and so they won't use it, and they would be forced to thaw the credit card, wait and think about the purchase before making it. that doesn't quite work as well these days. Everything is online, everything's on a phone, right? So not quite as strong. Some people use, the trick to themselves that they would only buy what they have cash for physically, and so they won't use a credit card, and that would force them to be a little bit more disciplined and think about what they're going to buy or what they're going to sell. If something is too liquid, every movement of the market, you might be tempted to either buy or sell, and miss kind of the opportunity to sell at a higher price in the future if you had held for a little bit longer. So that's just the counter argument to having collector pieces. Something that is less liquid, you are forced to kind of not sell at a whim or a moment's notice. It makes you kind of think if you really need the money, and obviously if you do, you would sell it, and you would take a loss. But if you didn't really need it, then you'd hold on to it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this topic about liquidity. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks.